Hello everybody, it's me David, and welcome back to Storytellers Row. I'm your host, David Lanier. I'm an actor from Chicago. Let's review what we covered so far in our stories, our theme so far of Turning Star Wars Episode 4 into a great D&D adventure. We're discussing, at the moment, how to create an emotional outline for our story. Because if we create the emotional outline for our story ahead of time, we as storytellers and dungeon masters, when we go in to write it or run it, we'll know the moments and the mood and tension we want to create at the various points in our story. We will know when the players go off on a red herring that we've created, or a tangential or something that they've created, and they create something that sort of takes us off of the rails for the moment of the story. Maybe it creates another side plot or sub story, and that's fine, that's great. Run with it, enjoy it, look for the moments, but at some point you want to sort of guide them back on. In guiding them back on, you have to know the emotional content of that block of the story. You have to know the emotional arcs of your players, your characters that are going to be in there. You have to know the emotional content of the scene, where it's going to end, and keep us right in the overall story emotional arc and keep us moving along. So it'll help you know what encounters to throw in and what things to keep out and what kind of encounters. It's very useful. It's a very important tool. We discussed the 7-point plot outline or plot arc structure, which they discuss in the Star Trek Narrator's Guide to RPGs, I believe, and it's also discussed in other areas, and it's not new. Storytelling is not new. The art of storytelling is not new. It's been around since, well, Aristotle. We covered the idea that we have arcs. Our story is a heartbeat. Its very outline, its very spine is between hope and fear, comedy and tragedy. But comedy in the Aristotelian concept and tragedy in the Aristotelian concept. We discussed how if we want to create some dynamic tensions, right, we need to know where our hero starts and where our villain starts. We need to know our resolution. So, in our example, Star Wars Episode 4, Death Star blows up. Headline: Luke Skywalker uses Force, blows up Death Star. Yay! Empire on the run. Darth Vader goes to lick his wounds. Princess Leia and the rebellion get some hope that they're gonna make it now. You see? But in order for us to get there, we start at the opposite end of the spectrum. Hope at the resolution for the good guys, fear for the bad guys. Well, we start with fear for the good guys down here, and hope for the bad guys up here, and they're going to cross at some point, right? We're going to have a conflict, and we're going to have some resolution. See? Isn't that awesome? That's why we plot the emotional arc. So we have our two lines. That's going to be our systolic and dystolic pressure that keeps the heartbeat of our story structure alive. Boom, boom. Right? Hope, fear, hope, fear, hope, fear, hope, fear, hope, fear, hope, fear, hope, fear. And we're going to rapidly cycle that hope, fear cycle to keep our adventurers engaged in the story and not so much up here. And by keeping them engaged in the story and not so much up here, they'll naturally want to follow it to some degree. But we're not going to railroad them because we're not writing a novel. And that is DM pro tip number 1. If you're writing a novel, just write it. Just write your novel and be done with it. Maybe it will be published. Maybe we'll read it. I doubt it. We're not writing a novel. We're telling a co-created improvisational role-playing story, and we're going to have some fun with it. Okay. So we covered our 7 plot point structure. We have the hook. We have plot turn 1. We have the first pinch. Then we have our midpoint. Then we have pinch 2. We have our plot turn 2. And then we have our resolution. By creating our resolution, first, knowing where we end up, we've already gotten rid of a lot of the hard, heavy lifting work for our story because we know where we have to begin. We know where our villains begin, we know where our heroes begin, and we have the end and beginning parts sort of emotionally structured out to a bit. This gets us to our moment of plot turn 1, which is where we bring our hero in and we see them for the first time realize that they have something within them that makes them heroic. It's giving them a point of, I have to do this, I got a mission, but there's going to be some vacillation there, a little bit of vacillation there. Do I go? Do I not? My life is going to change. I don't really want to leave my old life, whatever. So we have to have pinch 1, which really forces our heroes into the thing, into the thick of it. You have to now, right? There's no return for you. You can't go back home. Home's gone for you. You might as well just go on with the rest of the adventure. Okay? So today, we got 4 parts of our story taken care of just by thinking about the resolution and what happens there, knowing where our heroes have to be and our villains have to be in the context of things, and we have our beginning point, our beginning beat, the hook. See? So, we have the hook, then we have the plot turn 1, and we have pinch 1, we have our midpoint, we have pinch 2, we have plot turn 2, and then we have our resolution. We've built a nice structure for our railroad of emotions that we're going to take everybody on. Isn't that fun? A roller coaster of the emotions. Hope for you. So let's discuss today a few things about Star Wars Episode 1. I took some notes, so please give me a moment while I review them. Let's see. So today we're going to talk about the resolution. We just discussed that. We talk about the hook. We got that. We're going to look at plot turn 1 and pinch 1. Those are the elements we're going to look at today. And we're going to look at our heroes that we already know about. We know about, at this point, we know we have yet to meet Han Solo and Chewbacca. Okay? At plot turn 1, we have yet to meet Han Solo or Chewbacca. We know about the conflict. We know about the rebellion. We know about the Empire. We know that we have a princess in distress, and we've introduced our farm boy to a princess in distress and given him an external and an internal reason to want to leave Tatooine now. He's got a mission, but the first part of his mission is he has to go find Obi-Wan, and he doesn't know if Obi-Wan is that old guy, old Ben, out in the desert or whatever, and his uncle tells him, hey Luke, I need you on the farm. I need you here at the farm. I need you here at home. I need you not doing that heroic stuff. I need you to not think about going to school or the academy. I need you not to think about being a hero. I need you to be a pud, and I need you to not blah, 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 blah. But he says, old Ben is a wizard. They literally said that in the script. Leave that old wizard alone. The Force is a magical thing, and it's a religion, and it's antiquated. And they say that in the story. And it's very rare that people follow it. So, we know that Ben is a wizard. This means if he used the Force, and he's a wizard, our arch nemesis, Darth Vader, is probably a wizard too. See? Ooh, we just created a class for our villain and our mentor. Now, Luke goes and he finds Ben after buying some droids, fixing them up, realizing that the R2 unit has a message for Ben, right? And the robot R2-D2 takes off on his journey. Epic quest. I'm gonna go deliver this message to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know where to find him. I got coordinates or something. I know he's somewhere here on this planet. I'm just gonna wander around until I find it. Right? So if R2-D2 isn't a paladin, I don't know who is. He's got a mission and he's gonna make it happen. Nothing's gonna get in his way. Yay. Now, let's look at Farm Boy Walton, or Luke Skywalker. He goes off looking for R2 unit, gets attacked by sand people, and we meet old Ben, who scares the sand people off and introduces our young farm boy to a few moments. First, his father was a big hero in the war, not like his uncle told him. Second, Ben and his father served together. Wow. Foreshadowing. And third, his father left a inherited gift for our superhero, well, our hero, Luke Skywalker, Farm Boy Walton, whatever, a lightsaber. Careful with it, it might cut you. You don't know how to use the Force yet, but ain't it cool? It's awesome, isn't it? And he finds out, this is our plot turn 1, Luke Skywalker discovers he's a wizard too. The Force is strong within him, but he doesn't know how to use it yet, and his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is going to teach it to him. There is our plot turn. And by this time, we've introduced the conflict, we've introduced the villain, we've introduced our base heroes, and we know a great deal about what's going to happen. And we know our hero has some ability that he has to level up. Ooh, we're at a good point. But our hero is still reluctant. He doesn't want to leave his farm. He doesn't want to leave his family and his world behind. So what do? We got to go to pinch one. Pinch one. The Empire has now discovered his family. They followed the droids here to Tatooine. They're on the lookout. They set out a bolo for the 2 droids and anyone with them. They go in to the farm where Luke conveniently isn't there. How convenient. But his uncle and his aunt are killed and his home is destroyed. So for him, this is his moment, his call to action. This is his moment of truth, and this is his moment of, I'm gonna get that guy. I got a reason. I got an internal cause, I got an external cause. They're joined together for once. I got my call to action. I'm going. Stuff's gonna get messed up, boy. See? So we got a lot there that we can throw in. All because we created an emotional 7-point outline structure for us, where we know that at the end we're going to have this great big moment of triumph and hope and yay, we blew up the Death Star, but there's going to be some bittersweet moments in there. The villain's going to escape. We know we're going to have an episode 2, so on and so on and so on. We start at the beginning. We know that our boy has some ability and he's going to level up in some fashion. We know what his arc is. We know his internal and external motivations. We know R2's motivation. We're going to be able to play with that a little bit as they mesh together and go on their grand adventure. And now we have the mentor, the farm boy, right, and his two friends, right, the two droids, going off. So that's 4 adventurers. We don't have 5 and 6 yet, but we got 4 adventurers so far, right, that we got to keep track of in all their little backstories and story arcs as we move along towards the midpoint. So our structure in a story, we would start with the hook normally, right? Unless we're writing it like I'm doing now. But we start our story at the beginning, the hook, blah, blah, blah. We get to a certain point. I got superpowers. I got my plot turn. The internal, external sort of motivations get combined in here. Our character has his heroic moment, his call to action. We're going to get this moving us towards our midpoint because that's our, where we're going to start to really get into the nitty gritty of what we're going to do. So he realizes he has a mission. He realizes he has to do stuff. And to force him on his journey and make sure he can't do nothing, we're going to tighten the grip on him. That's what we call a pinch. Pinch 1. We're going to tighten the grip around him. We'll put it around his throat. And we're going to say, your uncle and your aunt were murdered by the Empire. But you got a really cool lightsaber. And if you learn how to use it, you're going to be able to extract your revenge. Not great. So as you can see, we know our emotional beats now for the story, and we have some emotional beats that we can rain down upon our characters. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope it's helping you create better adventures at your tables. In the meantime, may the deity of your choice bless your die rolls. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.